Hello, everybody. I'm Dominic Copeland, and this is the Ish That Needs to Be Said. Welcome. If you haven't been here before, make sure you like, make sure you subscribe. Come along on this beautiful journey. Together, my friends, let's rise. Together, let's explore these things that need to be said, but simply aren't being said. The ish that we need to say in order to progress us forward as a society that we either don't know to say or we just refuse to say. We can't keep hiding important things from each other, the important conversations that need to be had. It's the only way we can progress, and we need to be able to have these conversations in a civil type way. We can disagree without hating each other. We can disagree without trying to destroy each other. Let's find a common path forward that makes sense. And even if it can't be common, even if we have to go our own separate ways and directions, that's okay. We don't have to do so as enemies. We don't have to do so saying the next time that we see each other, it's going to be war. That's not necessary. That's not being an adult. That's not being a man. That's not being a good person. That's not being a great woman. It's none of that. That is being destructive. That is the absolute end of humanity, because what's humane about us would no longer exist at that point. And I feel that we are steadfastly heading towards that direction, where the things that made us human beings, that made us humane, no longer exist. Once we lose that, we're no longer a civilized society. We just become a regular part of the animal kingdom pretty much at that point. And I know that we as human beings are better than that. We have more to offer to this world than that. It's time for us to get enlightened, my friends. It's time for us to grow and get better. It's time for us to become the best of ourselves instead of stinking back to the common denominator of the deficit of being less. We're more than that. It's time for us to show that. So together we rise, together we will rise, together, no matter the obstacles, no matter the things that we have to go through, because those things that we have to go through, they're truly just stepping stones to our success. When you have a setback, it's not a setback. It's an opportunity for you to grow. It's just feedback saying you weren't properly prepared for what you currently wanted. But we heard you. We heard what you want. And now we put this in your path to help you get there. We put this failure before you so that you can grow. And once you grow, you're going to be able to attain what you want. So don't give up. Don't quit. Come back. Grow from this. Use it as a stepping stone to your success. And you will have it. Just make sure it's worth having. And it's worth doing. The ish that needs to be said, my friends. Let's rock and roll. Let's rock and let's roll. What are we talking about today? We're going to get into some fun, exciting things that need to be said. One of them is going to be about Shannon Sharpe and everything that he's been going through currently since that Cat Williams interview. Shannon Sharpe, I think, is a great person. I don't know him personally, but I think I look from people, are you congruent? What you say, is that what you're about? Do you stand for what you say you stand for? Do I know where I stand with you? Even if you're someone I don't like, if I know where I stand with you and you're a person of your word, I can appreciate that. As 50 Cent said about Supreme. So 50 Cent, the rapper, the artist, and Supreme was someone that ran the streets at the same time that 50 Cent was around, and they had beef. He didn't like him. They didn't like each other, and I won't get into the whole thing, but I'll say that part of it. So 50 Cent said recently about Supreme, he said, I don't like him. I hate him, but I can respect him because he's congruent. He stands on what he says. So he said, I can respect that, even though I don't like him at all. So when you're congruent and stand on what you say, even though I might not like you, at least I know where I stand with you and I can respect that aspect of who you are. Too many people come around saying whatever they think needs to be said for them to get whatever they want, or saying what they think you want to hear instead of what needs to be said. I'm not here to say that. I'm here to say the ish that needs to be said. So that's where all this comes from. So let's get in this journey of life together And let's speak honestly as brothers and sisters. Let's speak honestly as friends, with respect for each other and respect in this thing that we all play in called the game of life. So I'm going to talk about Shannon Sharpe and specifically some of the things that happen within the Black community that he's starting to fall victim of. And also going to talk about some other great things, including, this is kind of crazy to me. It's kind of crazy to me. But legalizing of psychedelic drugs, like acid and so forth, for quote unquote medicinal purposes. We've had marijuana legalized. There's some other things that have been legalized over time. And now they're looking at psychedelic drugs being legalized for quote unquote medicinal purposes. So we're going to get in that a little bit as well, because I'm going to break down, I'm going to say the ish that needs to be said and break down what's really happening. Okay. You need to hear it. I need to say it. So let's do it. Shannon Sharpe. Again, I think Shannon Sharpe, like I said, he seems to me congruent. He's about what he says he's about, right? But that would matter to him if I believe that or not. His situation since Cat Williams came onto the show and, he had 59 million viewers, almost 60 million now, viewing that interview. I watched it myself, thought it was, fantastic and tremendous. How they went about things, how Cat Williams came out and said the things that the ish that he felt needed to be said, how he said it. So naturally, you're going to have some feedback that's going to come to you either positively or negatively, right? So Shannon Sharpe has been getting a lot of feedback, especially from other comedians, especially ones that might have been targeted by Cat and other ones that weren't. And one of the things I say to Shannon Sharpe is, I get it to a degree, answering all these people. At the same time, you ever see the movie Shining? I haven't fully watched it, but I understand the concept. And there was another one that came after it that was made just a few years ago. I think it might have been Red Rum or something like that, or Shining 2, I don't know. But that really illustrated the point to me. Literally, these people were going out and taking the shine of other people. Taking their shine, taking that something that made them special and consuming it for themselves so that they could be special, so that they could live a longer life, so that they could exist. Taking something special from someone else so that you can exist. It's almost like a vampire type thing. So with the Shannon Sharpe type, what's going on there is almost the same type thing. Don't let them take your shine. The sun don't need the earth. But the sun contributes to the earth, right? It makes the earth what it is. Earth couldn't be what it is without the sun. You shine bright as the sun in the things that you do. And now all these other people, all they're trying to do is take some of that shine so they can have it for themselves. It's like you're living in a real life horror movie. They're coming for your shine. They're coming all after you. Why are they doing that? Why are they doing that? Why are they doing that? Because they're living in the darkness. They're not getting the shine that you're getting. And the only way for them to get that is to come for yours, a little piece of yours. And I think I heard you say it on your show even, when I address them, I open up my audience to them, and that gives them a bigger platform than what they had before. And that's the shine. Right? Them coming after you, accusing you of something that I'm going to talk about in a little bit, accusing you of being gay, being homosexual. And I'm going to talk about that in the context of the Black community in a little bit. But them coming after you, accusing you of those things so that you have to answer, so that you have to respond, or you feel that you must. And you don't have to. Now, if it's in your best interest too, growing your platform and all these other things, and you feel you want to, go for it. But don't get trapped down that rabbit hole, because we want Shannon Sharpe to be Shannon Sharpe. We want you to be the light that you've always been. We want you to shine bright, because that's what attracted everyone to you. That's what's got you the platform and the things that you have now. So continue to be that. Don't lose the shine. Don't allow them to take it from you. Don't lose the shine. Shine bright, my friend. Shine bright. Shine bright. And if you want to get onto the fishing show that you said you want to get onto, let me know. We might be able to make some things happen. I know you can, but I'm just saying I might be able to help in that process as well. So appreciate you, man. Appreciate all the things that you do out there. Don't know you, but appreciate you, respect you. Stephen A. as well. Appreciate, respect him and the things he does. I'm going to holler at Stephen A. in a different way later on. Because I don't think he realizes some things about the two of us. But I'm going to hit him with that later. So that's going to be fun. Nothing bad. Good stuff. So also where the homosexuality comes in, calling him gay. In the black community, one of the worst things throughout time anyway that you could be called or be seen as was gay. To this day, black men have to be ultra masculine, afraid of nothing, willing to fight at a drop of a dime, and to call another black man gay is something that can't be stood for in most parts of the country, most parts of the United States of America. So if you want to be able to get under someone's skin or put them in a situation where they're going to be seen as less than, or where they're going to lose respect, because that's the biggest part of it. If someone calls you something, who cares? But when other members of the community start to lose respect for you because of that and start to see you in that light, it then becomes a different story, right? And then that could lead to a situation where if you're in those areas, now you might have to fight or fend for your life because you're being seen that way. Now you're being seen as an easy target. You're being seen as food because you're being seen as being gay. There's nothing right about it. I don't respect it. I don't appreciate it. That's just often how it has worked, right? So by calling him gay, they know it's something that more than likely he'll have to respond to, or it's going to get the response of other people in the community that are going to start to question him and call him out so that he does respond, right? And that's how they get their shine. So within the black community, our fear of this whole being gay, homosexual, it has to stop. We're in 2024, and it's not just the year that we're in, but it's the era and the time that we're in. You don't have to be afraid of your own sexuality or your own manhood because someone else is something else. You're something else. That's great. I appreciate you. I hope you have a great life. I want you to be safe. Go do you. I'm in a different lane. That's okay. Your sexuality does not influence or compromise mine. I'm good money over here. I am who I am. I'm good. Not worried about it. And if you are gay or happen to be gay, so be it. You good money too. You don't got to worry about what somebody else say. You should be. You shouldn't have to have the threats of someone saying that you're less than a man, or someone trying to attack you physically because of that, or jump you. And I've seen those things happen previously in the past, and it's just not something that I believe in, that I respect or appreciate. Let people be who they are. If they're not harming anybody, they're not out there trying to hurt anybody, then, just because you have a different sexual partner than I may have, a different, male versus female, whatever it may be, oh, well, doesn't make us enemies. I'm cool with you, as a person, and you might be cool with me as a person. So the fact that I say, oh, I sleep with a woman, so that makes me better or more superior, or you sleep with a man, that makes you less, I don't buy into any of that. I don't appreciate it. I don't respect it. And that just comes out of fear of manhood, especially in the black community. And in many cultures, you have to be super macho. You have to be an absolute man. Can't be seen as any weakness. That's ridiculous. You're a human being. Be a human being. You don't have to be some super tough guy because tough guys, my friends, they always get challenged. And no matter how tough you are, no matter how crazy you are, there's always someone tougher, crazier, or if there's not, maybe it's just not your day that day and you get dealt with. So you don't need to walk around with your chest puffed up with the S on your chest, being a super Negro, as they say. It's not necessary. Nothing to prove to nobody. I say, look, I'm cool. I'm doing me. I got respect. I'd rather build partnerships with other brothers and sisters out there. If you come for me, you test me, that's a different thing. We'll deal with that if necessary, however necessary. But hopefully it's more of a respect type thing where, you know what, we're good. Nothing for us to fight for. We've been through that. We were taught to be that through slavery and other things, taught that we have to fight each other, taught that we're a threat to each other. We shouldn't be a threat to each other. We should be allies to each other. We should be brothers to each other, sisters to each other. That's what it's about. That's what it's about, my friends. So all this Shannon Sharpe stuff, everyone out there, stop it, knock it off. It's a bunch of nonsense. I get it for those that are trying to get shine and get a little piece of his. I understand that's what you're trying to do. The way you're going about it, I don't respect. I don't appreciate. The one that's not the man is you. So look yourself in the mirror if that's what you're about. And if that is his life and his lifestyle, it's whatever. If he chooses to disclose that to everybody, cool. If he doesn't, cool. What business is it of yours, mine, or anybody else's? And whatever you do, because I know some of you out there doing some wild stuff. So whatever you do behind closed doors that you're not out there sharing with the world, so be it. Not up for any of us to know about it, judge it, or whatever, unless you choose to disclose it. He has not chosen to disclose anything of that nature. So let's keep it moving. Let's keep it moving. So, Shannon Sharpe, much love. Do your thing. Keep rocking and rolling. You're showing them how it's done. Appreciate you, respect you. Keep going. Now, let's move into legalizing psychedelic drugs. So I hear it. I'm laughing because it seems unbelievable to me. I'm like, what? I heard it on the radio. They're talking about we're going to legalize. Right now, Massachusetts here, trying to pass a law to legalize psychedelic drugs like acid and everything else for medicinal purposes. I'm like, what the are we doing? What are you talking about? It's like, has anyone vetted this? Because I know in the 60s and 70s, we tried to do things like this. And even before that, testing these psychedelic drugs to see if we can get to greater existence, if we can get to greater abilities within our mind. Now we're saying we're going to use them for medicinal purposes. Is this really what it is? Because I'm starting to think it's something different. Even when they legalized marijuana, I talked about this before. Man, it's not really about the legalizing of the marijuana. It's not really about what they said it was about. Because here in Massachusetts, they said they were legalizing it so that it would start to right the wrongs that have happened to black and brown people who have been criminalized in their communities and even imprisoned because of marijuana. And this was supposed to help these groups of people, but none of that money goes to them, right? Goes to us. None of that money does. And the entrance into that pot arena was set so high that none of us were able to hop into it at that time. And there was no way that through the state, when they legalized it, that they had a platform to help people achieve and accomplish that. Didn't exist. Now they're starting to build those things in to some degree, but is the damage too late? It's already done. Those people that hopped in at the beginning, they're off and running. And now you got to go compete against them as they continue to grow their business. So what it really was about is just legalizing a new tax-based revenue for the government. That's what it really was about. And I have the fear and the concern that legalizing psychedelic drugs is the same exact thing. It's not about its medicinal purposes. Medicinal purpose, okay. It's not about its medicinal purposes. And if I'm wrong, let me know how I'm wrong, okay? I'm willing to talk to you about it. If you're a doctor, whoever that's looking to prescribe these things and say your patients absolutely need them, let's talk about it. Educate me and show me. Okay, because until that time, now marijuana, I think, shouldn't have been criminalized. But let's not say that we decriminalize it to help black and brown folks. No, it was about taxes and about tax revenue for the government. And I think the psychedelic drugs will be the same thing. Let's legalize these things so now that we can tax these things so that we can grow our revenue base. Everything that's been happening lately is about the government itself growing its revenue base. We constantly and continually, as citizens, get less so that the government or whoever else can get more. When is enough enough? When have we been taxed enough? How much can you tax a dollar before there's nothing left? How much can you say, oh, we're trying to tax the rich, but the rich never get taxed? It always comes back to everybody else who's got to pay that fee. And taxes just continue to go up in different and various ways. And the worst part about it is it's the ish that needs to be said. So I'm just go ahead and say it, right? What are they doing to we, the people? Everything I see is get us drugged up, get us high, now get us in altered states of mind on psychedelics, psychotropic drugs. And then they have the lottery that you can play now over your phone. And this great dream that people have that they'll hit the lottery and be rich. When the lottery was at its highest ever, billions on the line, one person wins. Each time one person wins, I don't even know if that person really wins. I don't know if they really exist. Who knows? But even if one person wins, the government still gets more money out of that than that person gets. And it's just one person, billions of dollars. We can only get one winner. That's insanity. That's absolute nonsense and insanity. How can we stand for that? How can we be okay with that? One person does not need $100 billion, $1 billion. Whatever it came out to be after the government took their slice. 300 million for 500, 600. And a lottery type of thing, that could be dealt out to more than just one person. That doesn't make sense to me. To even do that, or even, it's not even competing, but even put your money towards something like that. That's just buying into this dream that hopefully you'll be the one. And maybe you will, I don't know. But it just seems far-fetched. It seems a waste of money. But now the government has continuously been doing things that allow you to be in an altered state where you can easily waste that money. How fast can we get the money from your pockets into ours? That's the goal. From companies, corporations, governments. That's the goal. The human ATM machine. How can we get that human ATM machine to function in a way where it's just going to give us the money as quickly as possible? As quickly as it makes it. It can even borrow money to give to us. We don't care. We just need to keep getting money. We got to look at what's going on, and we got to start putting the pieces of the puzzle together, because this is not making sense. This is dangerous, what's happening and what's going on. My friends, we're just living in a theater of political folly, with everything from the Ukraine situation right now, and with people in our government arguing and debating whether we should be giving money, and, we want the wall built, and even from the current conversations with, I won't say illegals, because they're not illegal human beings. No human being is illegal. They're human beings. But we do have a crisis. We have a crisis right now when it comes to, my friends, our borders and the flow of immigrants coming into the country. Whether that crisis is just our infrastructure and we're not handling correctly, or too many people coming in. There's a crisis that's being spawned by one of those things, if not something else. And we have to be able to handle and manage that, because we have to manage our resources and our assets where we can be the most impactful within our nation. I do not feel that we're doing that, and our politics right now and our politicians are not helping us to do so. They're putting us in a much more difficult situation, and they're not showing themselves to be great leaders in order to lead us out of that. It's purposely like they're leading us into these traps to bolster their own prospects and what they hope to accomplish for tomorrow. But we're here today. And today, my friends, they're not leaving a tomorrow to us that's going to be something that we want. You got people in the government, 80, 90 years old, deciding our fates. That's absurd. How are they the leadership? Our president is the oldest that the president has ever been. And the next president would be one of the oldest as well, if we chose a different president. The guy that was formerly in there, if we go back to President Donald, if we go back to him, he was still 77. What are we doing? What are we doing? Like him or not, I don't care. It's not about liking someone or not. It's about what's the best and most effective for our country. Being almost 80 years old and trying to lead this nation, I find that to be super difficult. I don't think that's the direction that we should be moving in. We should have been moving towards what are other viable candidates that can come and fulfill the purpose and the vision of our nation as we need it to be. We, the people, there's certain things that we need that we're not getting. Housing and everything else is at all-time high. Prices, all-time high. Everything is skyrocketing. And it's not because of the person that's in office now. It's because that's how the system has been set up to be. That's how the system has been set up to be. Corporations are making every excuse to raise prices. Prices are, when are they coming down? When are they coming down? We're going to have to keep working harder. And then they go and say, oh, we can't find any employees. Or we have to pay these crazy prices and we have to pass that on to you. You're already passing on crazy prices to us. That's why we have to go out and get higher paying jobs. That's how it works. If I'm making a certain amount of money and it's not covering my expenses, guess what? I've got to go get more money to cover my expenses. So let's stop all this nonsense as if you paying people a wage that makes sense when the wages have barely gone up over the last 20, 30 years, longer, is what's driving all of this. It's not. It's not. What's the number? More. More. That's what we're looking at now. There is no number that will be satisfactory. The number will always be more when it comes to corporate and political interest. So we the people have to determine what do we want to do about that. What's going to make sense for us, what's in our best interest. And until we find that avenue that we can organize and that we can put those things forward in a unique, succinct voice, we will lose. Because everybody else that's coming for what's in our pockets, they are united, they are succinct, and they're pushing through laws that impact us and take away our ability to earn the wages that we want. And they're getting us high at the same time so that we don't even pay attention to it. Either high off of drugs, high off of watching TV and streaming, high off of gambling, high off of all the things that make us turn away from what's really going on. That happened once before, maybe more than once before, but it happened before in our country. They did the same type of things with enslaved African Americans, enslaved Africans. Just think about that. My friends, I'm Dominic Copeland. This is the ish that needs to be said. And I've said it. And I'm going to keep saying it. Hit the like button, subscribe, come back. Let's rock and roll. Let's get in this together. Let's start to make a difference. Let's start to come together and make a difference. We're going to have to go from just talking about things to how can we actually impact things. We're going to say it, but what's the next step? How can we take that next step to change it? High School Musical, we're all in this together. I'll talk to you soon.